Thank you. A number of years ago in Kansas City, I asked you a dog question, and I have another dog question. I have a wonderful dog. His name is Tucker, and he hangs out in my nursing home where I work, and he's wonderful with the residents. They absolutely love him. Everybody loves him.
He doesn't feel sorry for anybody.
No, he's unconditional love. However, on occasion, random occasions, he will go after somebody and bite them. Not a resident, never a resident. But one time it was a hospice nurse who was just innocently walking down the hallway, and Tucker went after her and nipped her in the back of her leg. And more recently, it was a police officer in our little town where I live, who had just given me a speeding ticket. So I could understand that one. And then there was another therapist on our staff who was just walking across the parking lot, and just randomly Tucker attacked her.
Well, Tucker is responding to disruptions in energy. You're moving along, you've sort of settled in. You might say, and what a nice conversation to have following the one that we just had, that there's been a sort of adaptation that's been taking place in your environment. In other words, people are settled in, and the energy is at a sort of level place, and people are doing what they're doing, so to speak. There's not a lot of disruptive energy, and even some disruption in energy is all right, but when it is a strong disruption, then it is evoking a response from Tucker. That's all.
So these individuals are disrupting the energy in such a way that Tucker goes after them?
Well, it's easier for you to think about the police officer, because the police officer is clearly a different vibration moving around, and so Tucker would take note of that, and then depending upon where the attention was focused, it might exacerbate it still a bit more. This conversation includes many of the conversations that we've had already here today about momentum, getting ready to be ready. And so think about what's usually going on in the environment where you work. So people are ready to be ready to be ready to be ready, and there's not a lot that is changing, but there is a routine that is comfortable for most. And when someone else enters the environment with a different set of intentions or a different energy, it is notable to sensing ones. It's notable to a lot of your residents. If you were to poll them, they would be able to tell you that they all could feel a disruption in the force. But most humans have been trained to behave, and while Tucker has been trained to behave, some things are just strong enough that Tucker doesn't feel like behaving.
So is there anything I can do to assist Tucker? Because it is a little concerning when he's...
Well, because you live in an environment where you're not allowed to show your awareness of energy disruption. In other words, humans train yourself to like everybody no matter what they're offering vibrationally. We weren't kidding when our first words to you about Tucker were, he doesn't feel sorry for anyone. Tucker sort of maintains this vibration of well-being and overall acceptance and no alarm about things, and never adds to thoughts of loss or of lowering of vibration. And so you could prepare Tucker a little bit more, like residents have been prepared. That's the thing that is so lovely about beasts, is that they don't give up what they feel vibrationally as readily as humans do. You could be aware of things that are happening in the environment and put Tucker in a place where it would be easier for the experience, or you could vibrationally prepare Tucker a little bit by addressing it in your own conscious awareness and having a sort of verbal and vibrational conversation with Tucker. Tucker, someone is coming, and it's not someone that we're used to, and it is someone that means well but whose vibration is all jacked up. And so there's going to be a little flurry around this, Tucker. It might be a little more exciting, but it's going to be all right. In other words, and be with Tucker, letting Tucker feel some of what you are feeling. But in essence, the reason we love having this conversation with you, which might not feel that we've come upon a solution for you quite yet, but it is because what humans really are asking for is, how can we train Tucker to be more like the rest of us and abide by the laws? And we say, this is not serving any of you very well. What you feel you suppress, and what you know you pretend you don't, so that you just kind of go with the flow of what the masses want. And the thing that makes this environment particularly harmonic to Tucker is that there are not a lot of people with a lot of strong desires. So the beliefs that they hold are not working really hard against their desires. And that's why there's not much energy disruption there. You see what we're getting at?
Yeah, got it.
And so there is a soothing. So
I have one more question.
any conclusions about that though? Anything dropping in from your receiving mode about what to do?
Well, I get to connect with Tucker when I see the possibility of somebody who he may go after.
And it might even be helpful to say to those who are entering, Tucker's sort of our monitor of balance and stability here. It's the same thing. Have you ever heard the story, we know you have, that a dog will bite the one who's afraid of him? Well, the dog isn't biting you because you're afraid of him. It's the disruption in the energy that feels disruptive to these very sensitive beasts. And so Tucker is a sort of monitor of the energy of the place. And when new things happen, sometimes that's a little disruptive to Tucker. And so
The interesting thing, though, is other than the police officer, the people that Tucker's gone after are meek and mild. They're not people that I would think were disrupting the energy.
But this is an important thing to understand. This is why we've said several times today, and we say it almost every time that we are together, you can't fake it. Behavior does not indicate energy.
Oh, got it.
There are a lot of people that are offering a lot of energy that is different from what they are feeling, and that's why we're not too excited about you encouraging Tucker to behave differently than he feels, because those others that are already doing that. So what to do about it? What's the big message here? Acknowledge the well-being that abounds and appreciate a sensor of energy, and do your best to learn from Tucker. Because if someone comes to you and says something to you about you, such as there, I feel sorry for you and I want to do this for you, meaning because I see you cannot do it for yourself, bite them. Bite them. Don't just stand by limply and mildly and let people thrust their belief of your diminishment upon you.
Very good.
Yeah.
Got it. Can I ask one more?
Or even someone that believes that death is a bad thing when it isn't. Tucker knows better. There are people helping people die who suffer with every death instead of celebrate.